All right, winning at the deadline can also mean a lot of times winning in the playoffs. How about these winners? Just a season ago, the Dodgers acquired Tommy Edman from the Cardinals in a 3-team trade. Edman took home the NLCS MVP, driving in a team-high 11 runs in their win over the Mets. Now, the Braves acquired Jorge Soler from the Royals just ahead of the 2021 deadline. Soler helped the Braves win their first World Series since 1995, hitting 3 home runs and being named MVP of the series. And in 2017, the Astros acquired Justin Verlander just before the trade deadline. Verlander took home ALCS MVP, allowing just a run and 2 starts and helping the Astros win their first World Series. We now bring in our senior MLB insider, Tim Kirchin, to break down the biggest moves that occurred before a busy trade deadline that ended today. Okay, Tim, you've sorted through every deal of this deadline. You've come up with your winners. In the NL, who do you think the biggest winner is?
I'm going to go with the Padres.
Okay.
The Padres had a fascinating day today. At a very steep price, they acquired Mason Miller, who has 20 saves this year for the A's. He throws 102 miles an hour. And now he's on a Padres team that has Robert Suarez, who also throws 100 and leads National League with 30 saves. When you add in Jason Adam, Adrian Morejon, they have one of the deepest, most versatile bullpens I've ever seen. If they have a lead after 5 or 6 innings, the game might be over. They are going for it.
Once again, the Padres loading up around the deadline. It's what they do, and they do it well. Okay, so what about the AL?
Well, I'm going to start with the Seattle Mariners, who I thought were the biggest winners of all. They needed to add offense, and they went and got Josh Naylor to play first base every day, a big upgrade, and then they got Eugenio Suarez to play third base. Now you look at them 1 through 6 in the order, and it might be the most potent lineup that they've had in 25 years. And when you put that together with the pitching that they have, the Mariners, who have never been to the World Series, have a real shot to do that this year.
Wow, I'll tell you, they are looking good. And, okay, so what was your biggest surprise?
Well, the Astros were my biggest surprise. First off, the Astros have a 5-game lead on the Mariners, and we're already predicting that the Mariners. But the Astros are really good, but they went and got Carlos Correa today. I talked to a source this morning, and he said, they're still talking, but I don't see this happening. And then it did. So he is going to come in and be the shortstop until Jeremy Pena is ready, and then Correa will move over and play third. He is going home. This is where Carlos Correa became famous, especially with how well he played in the postseason. Jesus Sanchez gives them the left-handed hitters that they needed. I thought they'd go get a pitcher also, but in adding Correa, I think they put themselves back in a position to go back to the World Series.
It's a great story, him coming home. Just real quick, a couple seconds. You've been doing this for 45 years. Put this into context, this deadline, because it seemed like a really crazy
It was total bedlam. There were 16 trades yesterday. There were over 30 trades today, and we couldn't keep track. I must have slapped my forehead 10 times today. Like, where did that come from? How come we didn't see that coming? That's the beauty of the trade deadline, the most unpredictable week in baseball.
One of the more unpredictable ones you've ever done.
Ever seen.
Wow. And when Tim's slapping his forehead, you know, that hurts to do that. When you're slapping your forehead, you know it's been a great deadline. Tim Kirchin, thanks.
The MLB trade deadline special 2025. We are 30 minutes away until the deadline. We're going to know the roster. But then what Alex Call does is he makes it where you're not having to pay deadline level prices. You're not having to pay deadline level prices, and you don't have to overpay like we're seeing what the Padres are doing, or the Yankees, or the Blue Jays, or teams out there that are chasing the Dodgers, quite frankly. And I think that this could go down as a sneaky, really, really good move. Just like I think that Broxton goes down as a sneaky, really good move, where you get guys that on the surface, yeah, they might be a little rough around the edges, but when you get them into your organization and you can implement what you want to their games, then yeah, absolutely, you can get value. I mean, Alex Call is not a superstar. He never will be a superstar. I mean, this year alone, he has 3 home runs, right? He's not a guy that hits for a lot of power as far as leaving the yard, but still, he can help this team. I know a lot of Dodgers fans out there, they want to see bigger names. You want to see Mason Miller on the Dodgers. Well, the Padres, AJ Preller, he's the guy that's spending big. He's the guy that is giving up major prospects, giving up Leo DeVries, the third best prospect in baseball, for a reliever, right? And only time will tell which of these moves will ultimately pay dividends and help a team get over the top. But right now, the Dodgers are kind of doing what they have told you they were going to do. They have made it very clear that they hate buying at the deadline. They've made it very clear that they feel good about the roster that they have. Brandon Gomes has already said that he thinks that the 2025 Dodgers can be better than the 2024 Dodgers. Well, when your GM is saying that weeks leading up to the deadline, then you see the way the market has played out, where there's just so much competition. You've got big markets, big teams that have veterans and stars in their primes that are ready to win. This should not come as a surprise. But I still think that Alex Call is a nice move. It really is. You give two guys to get them, two guys that you're not going to lose sleep over, pitchers that are high upside. But at the end of the day, those two guys aren't going to help the Dodgers this year. So that is where they're at as far as adding an outfielder. And as far as adding a pitcher, we did a live about Brock. He's back, the Brock star. He on our tier list was right there on the B range. And for him, really just about the injuries, right? I mean, Brock Stewart has really been lights out this year for the Minnesota Twins, right behind Johan Duran and Griffin Jacks. He's been right in that mix. But I think the difference between him is you're looking at a 1-for-1 James Outman swap. James Outman was going to do nothing in this organization because they just did not view him in that light. They did not see a future with him in this organization. So they went out there and they got something for something that they were not going to use. And because of that, you have to look at that as a positive deal. And look, I know that you want to see the Dodgers go out there and win the deadline. You want to see the Dodgers go out there and get the biggest names available. And we've seen big names move, right? We've seen Mason Miller go to the Padres. The Padres have just gone crazy. And we're going to talk about AJ Preller in a little bit. AJ Preller has been cooking. We'll see if that's going to hurt him down the line. I think he's made some smart moves. I know Dodgers fans are saying, oh, look at Mason Miller's stats versus Brock Stewart's stats. I mean, first and foremost, they're not facing the same batters in the same situation, right? I mean, Mason Miller is a really high upside, explosive, talented, potentially superstar in this league. And you have to give up a top prospect to get a guy like that. And that was already a really good bullpen for San Diego. And the fact that you are not trading out of that bullpen anymore and you are keeping that bullpen intact with Robert Suarez and the rest of that group. We saw that team last year with the Padres, they basically were 3 runs away from beating the Dodgers last year in the NLDS. They were a bad Manias start a couple years ago from beating the Phillies. I mean, they're right on the cusp of, hopefully for their sake, turning the corner. I still believe in the Dodgers roster over them. So let's check the X machine. We'll continue to break down the move for Alex Call. The Angels have been active. Looks like they made the last move. They got Oswald Peraza. Interesting. So he's a prospect that they're really high on. Of course, Volpe ultimately ends up as their shortstop. But really the big piece right now that could still be moved would be Stephen Kwan. Ken Rosenthal, he said that the Dodgers, they have been talking to them, but it doesn't feel like something is going to materialize. So we'll see. I mean, I think when you look at where this roster sits right now, the fact that Conforto has been a lot better over the last month and that guys are getting healthy. Yeah, I mean, look, Stephen Kwan, I don't think is going to be the difference whether or not the Dodgers win or lose a World Series. But if we're being completely honest about this, the teams that are hunting the Dodgers are being hunted. They're being chased. And those teams have all gotten better. The Padres, the Mets, both added top-tier relievers. The Phillies, top-tier reliever in Duran. So we know that This is a Dodgers team that when you go up against explosive pitchers that have triple-digit heat in a postseason game, it's not easy to hit leverage arms. So clearly they view that as, okay, that's the way that we can attack this Dodgers team. But I really go look at Alex Call's Baseball Savant page and compare it to Stephen Kwan's. And you will see, hey, wait a second. I mean, if you're blindfolded, there's a lot of similarities there. And also, too, another thing about it, when you just look at his fan graphs, he's got a couple option years left. And when you got multiple option years and you got team control, then that gives you that flexibility. And we know that Kike Hernandez has still been dealing with that elbow injury and that he's trying to work his way back. So this team needed some pieces to really work the margins of their roster. Tommy Edman dealing with an injury, Ha-Seong Kim dealing with an injury. So it's definitely a move that I think addresses that and raises the floor. I don't know if it raises the ceiling that much. I'm not going to go out here and tell you that a piece of silver is a piece of gold or anything like that. But I do think that it's something that is a very Andrew Friedman move. It really, really is. It really is. And I think that what we were seeing from Andrew Friedman during this deadline is he's getting back to being Andrew Friedman. I think in the offseason, he kind of went against what has truly made him the best president of baseball operations, in that you don't see him go out there and give relievers $50, $60, $70 million deals. And his way of getting back at that is saying, hey, I'm going to get a Brock Stewart, a guy that can strike out guys at a high clip, that has really good stuff and can dominate right-handed hitters, but I'm not going to give you a top 10 prospect. I'm going to get value, address my needs, but I'm not going to get fleeced. I mean, you look at the Padres, it's like, who knows? A couple years, we could say they fleeced themselves in a deal. But let's go to the chat, guys. What is